That may have been the strangest Nintendo Direct ever, and I am a strange person. There was a large amount of emotions I felt during this. There were tons of games that were announced, so we're just going to hop straight into it. If this is your first time on the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button, but let's talk about everything involved in this Nintendo Direct, what I loved, what I didn't love, and see if we enjoyed this Nintendo Direct overall. Because it was a weird one, man. It was a weird one. So we start things off with Mario's 40th anniversary celebration. We talked about the museum, the theme park, the Kyoto Marathon. If you want to run in the Kyoto Marathon, you can do that. Shigeru Miyamoto was telling us about all this stuff. They talked about the new movie, and then, like, they talked about how the movie's coming out in April 26th. Now, a bald man talked about the movie for a while. Like, I get it, but at the same time, I'm not really interested in the museum that I'm never going to visit, the Kyoto Marathon that I'm never going to run in. And then we got our first game announcement. Super Mario Galaxy and Super Mario Galaxy 2 are coming to the Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2. These games will be releasing on October 2nd in a 2-pack, but you can buy digital versions separately. There are some amiibo coming in 2026 as well. There's a weird book that Rosalina has that you can now own on the My Nintendo store. That's kind of cool, I guess. I actually never played Super Mario Galaxy 2, so I am looking forward to that. You know, I probably will pick up at least Mario Galaxy 2, as I already own Super Mario Galaxy in the 3D All-Stars collection, because, you know, God forbid we re-release that collection. But that was just the start of the Mario celebration when it comes to games. But before we get into all of those Mario games, I want to give a huge thank you to today's video sponsor. Today's video is brought to you by DBRAND and the KILLSWITCH case for the Nintendo Switch 2. Now, you might remember we talked about a little bit of a controversy with the KILLSWITCH case, primarily with the Joy-Con grips for the KILLSWITCH case. Essentially, under certain circumstances, they could become detached from the system when using these. DBRAND went back to the drawing board to figure out why this was happening and has now redesigned it, giving it a larger area to connect to your Nintendo Switch 2, thus causing no more issues. The KILLSWITCH case is still a tried and true case as well, offering great portability of your Nintendo Switch 2 while keeping it safe and allowing you to have various cartridges stored in the travel case portion of it as well. There's even a dock attachment that you can get that will keep your Nintendo Switch 2 within the KILLSWITCH case and still give it the docking functionality. Everyone deserves a second chance, and DBRAND has definitely made right by the customers by offering free replacements and using this new design going forward. Check out the link in the description box down below to get your DBRAND KILLSWITCH case for your Nintendo Switch 2, and a huge thank you to DBRAND for sponsoring today's video. Next up, we had a new Mario Tennis game coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 called Mario Tennis Fever. And the new gimmick of this one is that there are fever rackets that basically have like different elements attached to them. They can shrink you, they can light you on fire, they can freeze opponents. There are 30 different fever rackets that you can choose to use, so that's kind of cool. There are 38 characters to play as in this game as well, so it definitely seems like they aren't doing the Mario Tennis, the Aces, you know, route where they had all of the sort of DLC stuff where you had to get more characters over time. It was like a drip feed. This definitely seems more like a more fleshed out game. There is a trial tower in the game as well. There are casual and ranked online matches, and there's actually an adventure mode where everyone becomes a baby Mario style character, and it looks kind of like an RPG mode, and I really liked that. It was kind of a bit of a throwback to the original Mario sports games on the Game Boy Color that Camelot made, in which they had like RPG elements to them, and I think that's really cool. You know, this game looks very impressive from a visual standpoint. I think it's chock full of content. It will be coming out on February 12th as well, so very, very cool. I definitely really like this game. Super Mario Wonder Switch 2 Edition is coming. They are essentially adding in some mini games for multiplayer and local and online. You know, that's cool, I guess. They did also say that there is new content that they are also adding into the game that they aren't talking about yet. I do feel like that is going to be single player content, probably some new levels and stuff like that. It does come out in the spring of 2026, and they're making a talking flower as well. Like it's an actual little flower thing that talks to you in real life and says things. Okay, I guess that's kind of interesting. Next up was the final Mario game for Mario's 40th anniversary, and it is Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. It seems like a puzzle platformer style game in which you use like the environment to kind of make things happen. It's kind of like a comic book art style to it, or maybe like a hand-drawn sort of art style to it. It's a very stylized looking game, but I don't know how I really feel about it. I think I'll need to see more to really make like a definitive decision on whether or not I like this game. I think it has promise, but I'm not completely sold on it quite yet. This game will be coming out in spring of 2026. So the first, 20 minutes or so was just all about Mario stuff. So I guess they decided, not to do a dedicated Mario 40th event. I'm not sure why, because they had quite a bit of stuff to talk about, but they just decided to tack it on to this general Nintendo Direct. And then we started the normal Nintendo Direct portion of the game, and we got some Switch 1 games to start things off because, that's what everyone wants. Stormlancers, a 2D side-scrolling roguelike game, because we don't have enough 2D side-scrolling roguelike games. I will say the art style of the game is nice. It looks like an 80s cartoon, a little bit of like a He-Man or something like that, but I don't know. I'm probably not going to play it. It does, however, come out today, so it is a stealth drop, so that is kind of cool. Dinkum was the next game, a game about the Australian outback. I'm sure Wood will like this game because, he can feel like he's back at home with some kangaroos and crap like that. Kind of has elements of like Rune Factory, Animal Crossing, Harvest Moon. You build up an island. There's online and local co-op. A demo is available today, and this will be coming out on November 5th. Popucum. Interesting name. It's a multiplayer game that kind of looks like a Splatoon game. You defeat enemies with colors, like your character has 2 colors and your co-op partner has 2 colors as well, and you got to shoot the colored balls. No, thank you. Holiday 2025 for Popucum. Tomodachi Life was up next. The original game was weird as hell, and this honestly looks weird as hell too. But that's not a bad thing. There's a lot of weird things we're going to be talking about in this presentation, but weird can be good. I think Tomodachi Life, it's a game I'm looking forward to. I will play it because I liked the original game. All hail the Virtual Boy, as the original Tomodachi Life taught us. Spring of 2026 for this game. I will be buying this. And now it is Switch 2 focus time. Now, some of these games will also be coming to the Switch 1. Honestly, I stopped writing down if games were coming to the Switch 1 in this portion of the presentation because I really don't care about the Switch 1 anymore. I'm focused on the Switch 2. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, which has been a day 1 game since it was first shown, is indeed coming to the Switch and Switch 2. October 30th for the digital edition, physical edition December 12th. That is a trend that will be continuing throughout this video. Final Fantasy Intergrade is up next. Looks great. I will be buying this. I actually never played the Intergrade content on the PS5 version of the game. I played through and defeated the game on the PlayStation 4. However, it is no longer a 2025 game. Final Fantasy VII Intergrade will be coming to the Switch 2 in January 22nd of 2026. I was kind of hopeful that I was going to play this game this year, but I mean, it is the first month of 2026, so really no big deal. Linked Banner, a roguelike game, is coming out today. Okay, Hades 2 is up next. I never played the original Hades. It looks nice. The music for the trailer was pretty good too. Up to 120 frames per second in TV mode when playing the game on the Nintendo Switch 2. Once again, we do have a staggered release for this game though. September 25th is the digital edition. Physical edition is November 20th. I'm not sure how people are going to feel about that, but hey, you know, it is what it is. Then we talked about some new amiibo. All right, Kirby Air Riders amiibo. All right, I'm not purchasing Kirby Air Riders amiibo, but you might. So I did want to talk about it. These new amiibo will be launching alongside of the game on November 20th, and a second Kirby Air Riders Direct is coming, because 45 minutes, I guess, wasn't enough. Like, maybe there's some more sauce to the game that they just haven't talked about. Maybe that will be the thing that pushes me over the edge to really want this game. I'm kind of, you know, I understand I need to buy it to play it, to make a video on it, because it is kind of, you know, what I do for work. But I can't say that this is high on my list of anticipated games. But, hey, you know what? Maybe the second Direct will change my mind. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment was up next, and the game looks really good, honestly. You use Zonai devices in battle. There is split-screen co-op, and Game Share is in it. I want more games to utilize Game Share. I think, like, Game Share works ridiculously well, at least in some instances. I can't say for everything, but we did Game Share on WWE 2K25, myself, MVG, Spawnwave, and Nate the Hate. And we had a blast, dude. It was running great. It was looking great. It was playing great. So I want more games to incorporate Game Share. And here's a shocker. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment will be coming out on November 6th, 2025. So it is not a 2026 game like many of us were anticipating. So very stoked on that. Dragon Quest VII Remake is coming. It's called Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. Very cool looking art style. I don't think I ever played this game back in the day, but I am liking what I'm seeing here. The world itself looks great. The characters all look great. You know, a very, you know, interesting art style, I would say, but, you know, I think it suits this game very well. I think the world itself looks really interesting. You know, it's Dragon Quest. Dragon Quest games always have rock solid, awesome gameplay as far as a traditional JRPG style is concerned. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined will be coming out on February 5th of 2026. And now we have a Nintendo Today app update, and a new Kirby theme is coming. Holy shit, let's go. We need a new Kirby theme. And there's going to be more information on Kirby Air Riders. And that's cool, too. But here's where we're just going off. You thought Tomodachi Life was weird? You thought Tomodachi Life was weird. You haven't seen nothing yet. Because arguably, one of the greatest announcements from this Nintendo Direct was an update for the Nintendo Online Expansion Pack. And Virtual Boy is coming to Nintendo Switch Online. What is happening here? What what is happening? They're making a Virtual Boy that you put your Switch or Switch 2 into to look into it, to give you the 3D effect. I want 7 of these right now. They're not available right now, but I want an army of the, I don't care how much this costs. Give me 12 of them. Mario Tennis, Galactic Pinball, Telero Boxer will be coming. There's a total of 14 games coming, which of course is a large majority of the library. Some games such as like Virtual League Baseball I don't think are going to be included, or Waterworld, but that's fine. Who cares about those games? They sucked ass anyways. I am hyped as hell for this, and you can kiss my ass. This will be coming out on February 17th. They also have like a cardboard Virtual Boy eye thing that you can attach to you. This is bizarre. This is bizarre as hell, and I love it. I love when Nintendo does weird shit like this that is not just weird to be like weird, but it's weird in the sake of being different. And this, bro, Virtual Boy is back, boys. We're Virtual Boy fans, all 7 of us are eating good today. Then we got some more games to talk about, because we're not nearly done with all of this. Fatal Frame 2 Crimson Butterfly Remake. They don't want to make a new Fatal Frame, do they? They did Made in a Blackwater, and they were like, you know what? That's it. We're crashing out on this. But I do think it looks very, very good. It's been a very long time since I played this game, so I probably will pick this up. Another Koei Tecmo game. Keep a little mental note of that. Early 2026 on the Nintendo Switch 2. Then we got some Nintendo Switch 2 editions of games, including One Piece, Overcooked, Stardew Valley with mouse controls and game share, and Human Fall Flat. I'm not playing any of these. You might be, and if you are, that's cool. I respect your decision to spend money how you want to spend money, but I'm not spending money on this. Power Wash Simulator 2. People really love these games, and I'm not here to judge you, but I am not people. I would rather just buy a power wash thingy, go out and make some money, clean some houses or whatever, some statues, I guess. They clean statues in this game. I don't know. Fall of 2025 for Power Wash Simulator 2. Suyaki Game Planet, the little weird fruit puzzle game is back in Pog form. We've been waiting. We've been waiting for some more fruit dropping fun, and I am so excited that this is coming. It has game share, but don't share the game with me, please. If you share Suyuki Game Planet with me, I'm blocking you. I'm removing you from my Switch 2 friends list. I'm removing you from Twitter. If you're a friend with me on Facebook, I'm removing you from everything. It is coming out this winter. And now, here we go. Metroid Prime 4 time. Samus has a bike. I repeat, Samus has a bike and is like going around these large landscapes and like doing jumps and shit. I thought at first, I was like, is this a side game that they're doing? No, this is Metroid Prime 4, pal. And Samus has a freaking bike now. The game looks absolutely fantastic. They of course teased Silex. There's going to be some amiibo that are coming out, and we have a release date, December 4th, 2025. Let's freaking go, man. I was really worried that Hyrule Warriors and Metroid Prime 4 were both going to be early 2026 games, but no, they are not. So these are absolute must-buys for me. I'm super stoked on Metroid Prime 4. Glad that they're, releasing two games so close together. You sometimes get worried that Nintendo likes to space things out. Obviously, Air Riders comes out on the 20th of November, but this is awesome. Here's something crazy. Donkey Kong Country DLC. Or not Donkey Kong Country. What the hell is the name of the game? Donkey Kong Bonanza DLC. It's called Emerald Rush. You have Donkey Kong Island in the game, and then you're basically like going through and working for the Void Company and collecting emeralds in a time limit thing. You could collect fossils that give you different perks as well. It's kind of like each run you start out flat and you get different perks and stuff like that. I like it. I really was a big fan of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and getting some additional content in terms of Donkey Kong Island and being able to mess around and explore that, I think is really cool. You could play the Emerald Rush mode on the previous islands as well that you have, or the previous levels and layers, I should say, that you have previously defeated. And it's actually out today. So a big stealth drop there. It is paid DLC. I haven't looked to see how much it is. I'm gonna assume 10, 20 bucks, probably 20 bucks, knowing current day Nintendo, but definitely very stoked for this. Pokemon is up next, and oh boy, this is called Pokemon Pokopia. Comes out in 2026. Like, how are we making a game? How are we Game Freak? And we have all this money in the world, You could literally pee money out. And this is what you make. It's a Pokemon game where you play as a Ditto that becomes like a human, and you try to make like a little island, and you take care of the island, and different Pokemon come there and you use their abilities to help grow your island. This looks like crap from a visual standpoint. It looks like crap. Look at the tree vines in the back. Those are straight N64 tree vines. They do not give a shit about anything. This looks like crap. It comes out in 2026. We got a Pokemon Legends ZA Switch 2 Edition trailer. They showed off some Mega Evolve stuff. I'm sure the Poketubers will be crying tears of joy. I still am not a fan of the aesthetic of this game. I would rather have had Arceus 2. I think you could have done a lot more with that. And then they were like, there's one more Pokemon game trailer. It's Pokemon Legends ZA Mega Dimension paid DLC, because everyone loves when you talk about paid DLC before the base game comes out, right? That's what everyone loves. I don't know. I would assume that's what everyone loves. Next up, we had Danganronpa 2 is back. I know the streets have been waiting for Danganronpa 2 or something to get get a remake. I know people like these games, and I'm not here to diminish what people like, but I am not a Danganronpa fan. Danganronpa does nothing for me. It is all right, though. You know, they are adding in an additional story as well, if you're big into the Danganronpa stuff. 2026, Dynasty Warrior Origins is coming to the Switch too. A lot of Koei Tecmo games. Interesting. And paid DLC is on the way too. On January 22nd, you can get the game and the DLC. It looks fine. Like, I like these games when they're like characters. Like, Hyrule Warriors is cool because it's Zelda crap, and I like Zelda. I don't really care about like historical figures like this, but you know, people buy these games. They are popular, so I kind of understand it. Monster Hunter Stories 3 gets a new trailer. I actually really liked the first one of this. I never played the second one. I thought about buying it when it was on sale on the Switch, but I don't know. I just felt like it probably ran kind of crusty. I do think this game looks really cool. Comes out on March 13th, so little Monster Hunter love on the Switch too. That is a multi-platform game, however. Then we had a little sizzle reel here. Couple little interesting things. 2 Points Museum, Disgaea 7 Complete, FC 26, which will be at 30 frames per second, although all those awesome Twitter accounts who said NBA 2K26 and Madden 26 ran at 60 frames per second, and then they were proven wrong and they never apologized for it, they'll tell you it runs at 60 frames per second. Dragon Quest HD collection, of course. Here's a nice one. Virtua Fighter 5 Revo. Yes, give me that. Lego Voyagers, Little Nightmares 3, and Persona 3 Reload. And then we get weird again with some shocking announcements. Resident Evil Requiem is indeed coming to the Switch too. Let's freaking go, man. I will be buying it on the Switch too. And you know what's great about this trailer? They showed off a ton of new footage. This is never before seen footage, and it looked great. I liked what they showed from this gameplay footage because it gave me an idea of what to expect with the game and the characters and the locations you're going to be in. This looks freaking awesome. This was the best trailer that we've gotten for Resident Evil Requiem across any measure, across any presentation, anything like that. Looks so good from the perspective of the locations and stuff like that. I am interested to see how this game performs on the Switch 2. Assuming that what we saw was Switch 2 footage, it definitely looked like really good. And I'm going to assume that that was running on the Switch 2 as well. And February 27th, so it comes out at the same time that the other versions of the game come out, which is freaking awesome. And then say like you want more Resident Evil stuff on February 27th. You're like, you know, I want to give Capcom a lot of money. Well, Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 8 are also coming to the Nintendo Switch 2. I probably won't buy 8 because I didn't like 8 quite as much because of the Heisenberg dude segment. I thought that dragged on for too long. Resident Evil 7, I will be buying that again. I will be playing it again, and I will be playing it again on the Switch too. So a lot of Resident Evil love during this presentation. Very, very cool stuff. I'm still hopeful for 2, 3, and 4 as well. If you're doing Requiem, there's no reason you can't do 4. And then we had our final game of the presentation, a new Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Fortune's Weave. And I'm sure OJ was crying tears of joy. But jokes aside, I do like Fire Emblem games. Just, I didn't really care for Three Houses that much. But, like, I thought Engage was super fun. And this game looks really good. It's a traditional, you know, grid-based combat when it comes down to it, of course. I thought the story looked cool. It looked kind of more adulty, you know, not dealing with 3 houses of kids and stuff like that. The game will be coming out in 2026. It'll also be like intertwining and going alongside of other Fire Emblem games. So I'm sure you're going to see lots of characters that you recognize. There was a character tease at the end of the trailer as well. And that wrapped up our hour-long Nintendo Direct presentation. And this was a presentation for me of a lot of highs and then some lows. Like, it was interesting, I thought. I didn't know how I first really felt about it when things wrapped up, but the more I think about it, like, the more of a positive feeling I have with it. Yes, there was a ton of stuff that had no interest to me, but you got to remember, a lot of this stuff is coming out between now and early 2026, so they're not really tipping their hand too much. You saw first party games. You got games that didn't have a release date get a release date. We got Metroid Prime 4 and Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment both coming now in 2025. You have, Super Mario Galaxy 2 coming to the Switch and Switch 2. You got Mario Tennis Fever. You have, Resident Evil is now coming. A Virtual Boy is coming. Like this was a spastic presentation, and it was bizarre at times, but I think the positives for me more than outweigh the negatives. Like going back and looking through the list of games, Mario Galaxy 2 I will buy, Mario Tennis Fever I will buy, scrolling down, Final Fantasy VII Intergrade, Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, Dragon Quest VII, the Virtual Boy, I'm buying 70 of those. Get out of my way, children. You don't know what the Virtual Boy is. Fatal Frame 2, Crimson Butterfly, I'm buying. Donkey Kong DLC, I'm buying today. Monster Hunter Stories 3, it's a maybe, but, I might buy that. Resident Evil Requiem, I'm buying that. Fire Emblem, I'm buying that. And you have a lot of release dates, and they're all pretty close. So whether or not some of these games hit with you or not, all comes down to personal preference. Obviously, a lot of these games did not hit with me, but there was more than enough games that did hit with me to make me very excited. My one complaint, though, is, once again, something I have said for a very long time. Look at the third-party companies that are talking about games during this presentation. Your Koei Tecmos, your Capcoms. Where the hell was Sega during this? Besides Virtua Fighter 5, where is Microsoft? Where is Bethesda? Where are some more Western studios? It does seem like there is a weird rollout of these dev kits and who has one and who doesn't and this, that, and the other. But with all that being said, there's still a ton of stuff coming out that is definitely highly interesting to me. So overall, I enjoyed it. I think the weirdness of it made it kind of an emotional roller coaster, but a fun ride, a good time. And God, this video ended up being pretty damn long, but I mean, I had a lot of things to say, dog. This was an hour-long presentation. I could have gone on for much longer, but that is my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct presentation. What did you think about it, though? What were some highlights for you? Let me know in the comment section down below. Huge thank you to DBRAND for sponsoring today's video. Check out the link in the description box down below to get the Kill Switch for your Nintendo Switch 2. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Hit the bell as well. We'll be on Game & Talk tonight. It'll be myself and Celia, maybe Nate. I think Josie is working, but we'll have a decent crew in there, so come by the Game & Talk channel and hang out with us tonight at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.